Hi friends, it's been a while since I've done a new Bible study. I've been re-uploading some of the 500 struck videos from my other channel. So we'll just go straight into some praise and worship from Talk New York, and then a couple of chapters of the Word. Here we go. So the King of Glory can come in. Open up the doors, let His people come in. Let His people come in. Open up the doors, let His people come in. Sing open every door. Open every door, let earth and heaven roar. Fling wide you heavenly gates, here let your kingdom reign. Behold, glory King, honor His majesty. Fling wide you heavenly gates, throw high your praise and come away. Wow. Come away. Sing one more time. Everybody just raise your hands. Open every door. Open every door. Let earth and heaven roar. Fling wide you heavenly gates. Here let your kingdom reign. Behold the glory King, honor His majesty. Fling wide you heavenly gates, throw high your praise and come away. Wow, that's beautiful. And we'll go into the Word. I was at Mass. I don't go to Mass very often anymore, but I was at Mass for my mother's funeral and then what they call a month's mind, a month later. And it was announced that Christmas services will go ahead, which is good, but it's a ticketed affair. You have to reserve tickets because of social distancing and number limiting and what have you. So that's a bit strange, but yeah, silencing the voices, that some of the most ridiculous rulings where you can't sing in public, you know, just really such an attack on praise and worship. But let's see where we are. Yeah, 2 Corinthians 7 and 8. Staying at our post. Companions, as we are in this work with you, we beg you, please don't squander one bit of this marvelous life God has given us. God reminds us, I heard your call in the nick of time. The day you needed me, I was there to help. Well, now is the right time to listen, the day to be helped. I think the word says that today is the day of our salvation. Redeem the time, carpe diem. Don't put it off. Don't frustrate God's work by showing up late, throwing a question mark over everything we're doing. Our work as God's servants gets validated or not in the details. People are watching us as we stay at our post, alertly, unswervingly. In hard times, tough times, bad times, when we're beaten up, jailed and mobbed, working hard, working late, working without eating, with pure heart, clear head, steady hand, in gentleness, holiness, and honest love. When we're telling the truth and when God's showing his power, when we're doing our best setting things right, when we're praised and when we're blamed, slandered and honoured, true to our word, though distrusted, ignored by the world but recognised by God, terrifically alive, though rumoured to be dead. I think I read this before, sorry people. Beaten within an inch of our lives but refusing to die, immersed in tears yet always filled with deep joy, living on handouts yet enriching many, having nothing, having it all. Dear, dear Corinthians, I can't tell you how much I long for you to enter this wide open, spacious life. Yeah, I'm going to skip this. I did read this last time. Sorry, guys. That's Corinthians 6. I meant to start with 7. So take 2. With promises like this to pull us on, dear friends, let's make a clean break with everything that defiles or distracts us, both within and without. Let's make our entire lives fit and holy temples for the worship of God. More passionate, more responsible. Trust us, we've never hurt a soul, never exploited or taken advantage of anyone. Don't think I'm finding fault with you. I told you earlier that I'm with you all the way, no matter what. I have, in fact, the greatest confidence in you. If only you knew how proud I am of you. I'm overwhelmed with joy despite all our troubles. When we arrived in Macedonia province, we couldn't settle down. The fights in the church and the fears in our hearts kept us on pins and needles. We couldn't relax because we didn't know how it would turn out. Oh, doesn't that make people think of now? Sorry, there's just something here. It's set up professional audio in audio settings. I think the audio is okay, although I'm expecting a new microphone. But let me know if the audio is not good enough. Yeah. The fights in the church and the fears in our hearts kept us on pins and needles. We couldn't relax because we didn't know how it would turn out. Then the God who fills up the downcast lifted our heads and our hearts with the arrival of Titus. We were glad just to see him, but the true reassurance came in what he told us about you, how much you cared, how much you grieved, how concerned you were for me. I went from worry to tranquility in no time. There's a lesson in that sometimes, especially for people that work online or are over-isolating or live an isolated kind of a life. Sometimes fellowship will lift you out of anxiety. Not tablets or, sort of mood-altering substances. Sometimes just fellowship with somebody that cares and you care for can shift from, he says he went from worry to tranquility just by having a visitor. I know I distressed you greatly with my letter. Although I felt awful at the time, I don't feel at all bad now that I see how it turned out. The letter upset you, but only for a while. Now I'm glad. Not that you were upset, but that you were jarred into turning things around. Yeah, I get accused of doing that a lot. Like, I can upset people, but it seems to have a dramatic impact on their lives. You let the distress bring you to God and not drive you from him. The result was all gain and no loss. Distress that drives us to God does that. It turns us around. It gets us back in the way of salvation. We never regret that kind of pain. But those who let distress drive them away from God are full of regrets, end up on a deathbed of regrets. Oh, what a sad way to die. And now, isn't it wonderful all the ways in which this distress has goaded you closer to God? You're more alive, more concerned, more sensitive, more reverent, more human, more passionate, more responsible. Looked at from any angle, you've come out of this with purity of heart. And that is what I was hoping for in the first place when I wrote the letter. My primary concern was not for the one who did the wrong, or even the one wronged, but for you, that you would realize and act upon the deep, deep ties between us before God. That's what happened, and we felt just great. And then, when we saw how Titus felt, his exuberance over your response, our joy doubled. It was wonderful to see how revived and refreshed he was by everything you did. If I went out on a limb in telling Titus how great I thought you were, you didn't cut off that limb. As it turned out, I hadn't exaggerated one bit. Titus saw for himself that everything I had said about you was true. He can't quit talking about it, going over again and again the story of your prompt obedience and the dignity and sensitivity of your hospitality. He was quite overwhelmed by it all, and I couldn't be more pleased. I'm so confident and proud of you. And we'll go finish on chapter 8, the offering. Now, friends, I want to report on the surprising and generous ways in which God is working in the churches in Macedonia province. Fierce troubles came down on the people of those churches, pushing them to the very limit. The trial exposed their true colors. They were incredibly happy, though desperately poor. That's so often the case in the church worldwide. Some of the poorest churches have the widest smiles and the closest sense of miracles. The pressure triggered something totally unexpected, an outpouring of pure and generous gifts. I was there and I saw it for myself. They gave offerings of whatever they could, far more than they could afford, pleading for the privilege of helping out in the relief of poor Christians. This was totally spontaneous, entirely their own idea, and caught us completely off guard. What explains it was that they had first given themselves unreservedly to God and to us. The other giving simply flowed out of the purposes of God working in their lives. That's what prompted us to ask Titus to bring the relief offering to your attention, so that what was so well begun could be finished up. You do so well in so many things. You trust God, you're articulate, you're insightful, you're passionate, you love us. Now do your best in this too. I'm not trying to order you around against your will, but by bringing in the Macedonians' enthusiasm as a stimulus to your love, I'm hoping to bring the best out of you. You are familiar with the generosity of our Master Jesus Christ. Rich as he was, he gave it all away for us. In one stroke, he became poor and we became rich. That's mind-boggling. So here's what I think. The best thing you can do right now is to finish what you started last year and not let those good intentions grow stale. Your heart's been in the right place all along. You've got what it takes to finish it up, so go to it. Once the commitment is clear, you do what you can, not what you can't. The heart regulates the hands. This isn't so others can take it easy while you sweat it out. No, you're shoulder to shoulder with them all the way. Your surplus matching their deficit, their surplus matching your deficit. In the end, you come out even. As it's written, nothing left over to the one with the most, nothing lacking to the one with the least. If only the world would live like that. I thank God for giving Titus the same devoted concern for you that I have. He was most considerate of how we felt, but his eagerness to go to you and help out with this relief offering is his own idea. We're sending a companion along with him, someone very popular in the churches for his preaching of the message. But there's far more to him than popularity. He's rock solid, trustworthy. The church has handpicked him to go with us as we travel about, doing this work of sharing God's gifts, to honour God as well as we can, taking every precaution against scandal. Again, that should be printed out somewhere and hung on a wall. We don't want anyone expecting us of taking 1 penny of this money for ourselves. We're being careful in our reputation with the public, as in our reputation with God. That's why we're sending another trusted friend along. He's proved his dependability many times over and carries on as energetically as the day he started. He's heard much about you and liked what he's heard, so much so that he can't wait to get there. If I don't need to say anything further about Titus. We've been close associates in this work of serving you for a long time. The brothers who travel with him are delegates from churches, a real credit to Christ. Show them what you're made of, the love I've been talking up in the churches. Let them see it for themselves. Yeah, so some people get really uncomfortable around money and giving, and but that's full of wisdom there, saying, you know, don't just do evil, don't just not do evil, but give no appearance of evil either. Yep. Right, we'll just pray some more praise and worship and finish out.
Just stand in his presence, church. Just bring that up a bit, Tim. Oh, yeah. Stand in your presence, Jesus. Oh, 'cause you hold it all together. You hold it all together. You are Alpha and Omega. We give you all the praise, 'cause you are worthy to be praised. We worship you. You are Alpha and Omega. We give you all the praise, 'cause you are to be praised.
I'm going to leave a link to that. That's some of their praise and worship is just exquisite. Talk New York, they're on Facebook. I think Church Online is live, and Portals. It's mostly a young-ish congregation in Times Square in New York, with Australian pastors and Lebanese and Jewish and every tribe and tongue really represented. So I'll leave a link to that, and I'll leave other links in the description. Sorry if I'm a bit quiet today. I'm feeling a bit, I suppose, like I've got my Christmas earrings. Do you like them? Like everybody, just waiting for the other shoe to drop kind of feeling, and trying not to feel that way. That's why I came out to do this, because we're not supposed to live as if we're waiting for something external to give us revelation. I think revelation is available all the time if we just get in the presence of God. So God bless people, and I'm going to keep uploading videos and keep working quietly behind the scenes on trying to make sense of the Wilfred Wong, On Cahill, and others case. So your prayers appreciated for that. God bless.